Hi there folks. Jen tells me you need to make a survey for your writer's workshop, so I want to show you how you can use Google Forms to do that. To begin, you'll want to be logged into your Onalaska Schools Google account. In this case, I'm in my Drive, but I could start this from my mail or anywhere else. I'm actually going to start from my Drive because I think a good way to stay organized is to have folders in your Drive. In this case, I have one called Writer's Workshop Videos. If I start from the folder in which I want the file to reside, I'm kind of organizing from the get-go. If not, what I could do, you can always drag things into folders as well. So I'm going to start from this Writer's Workshop Videos folder. I've already made some videos here. And what I'm going to do is go New, and then More, and I want to choose Google Forms. Okay, so that's one way to start a form from your folder. Another way to start a form is to just go up to the waffle, and Forms is in there too. This will just drop it into my Drive. So I like starting from the folder where I want it to live, but that's totally up to you. So I'm going to go New, Google Forms. And I want it in this shared folder. In this case, this folder is shared. If your folder is shared, you'll get this, but I'm fine with that. As with all Google apps, I need to give it a name right off the bat, so I'm going to call it Beginning of the Year Survey. And when I hit return, that's going to now be called Beginning of the Year Survey instead of Untitled Form. There are lots of different kinds of questions I can ask to begin. In this case, I probably want to know my students' names. So there are several different kinds of questions I can ask. The default is multiple choice, but if I click on that, I can choose different ones. Let's say I want to know my student's first name. So I'm going to say first name. It's a short answer, so they'll just fill that in. I'm going to require this. So the default is it doesn't have to be required, but I'm going to make this a required question. The benefit of that is the student can't submit the form without filling that in. Another way you can collect kids' names, however, is if we go up here to Settings, right away I can restrict it to only School District of Onalaska, or actually that's the default. But I could collect their email address right off the bat too, which is kind of a nice way to collect things if you forget to ask the students their names. So I'll have that on there too. Let's say I also want to collect their last name, so I'm going to add a question by hitting the plus sign, and I'm just going to say last name, and I will also make that a short answer. Other questions you might ask them, I'm not sure what your survey looks like, but let's say you're going to write about the seasons. And I'm going to show you how a multiple choice question would work. So I might say, what is your favorite season? And I'll leave it as a multiple choice. What I do down here then is type in, hit return, the different choices for those. You can see that this pops up. I could add pictures if I want. If you're teaching youngers and a picture would help, you could sure do that. But I'm going to require that question as well. This pull-down menu allows you, if you have multiple choice questions, you can actually go to different sections of a form based on the answer to that question. So if this were a yes or no question, the kids who answer yes could go to next, the fourth question could be based on for the kids who answered yes. The fourth question could also be based on the kids who answered no. That's an entirely different subject, but that I wanted to show you that you can kind of customize these multiple choice questions. So let's say that's all I need for my survey. Before I'm finished, if I want to, I can change the color a little bit, so I can change it to blue, or I could even, they have some pictures that you can choose from as well. So let's say there's different, these are probably a little bit more adult oriented, but cocktails, if you will. But let's say I want to have a nice waterfall theme for mine. I can put whatever kind of theme I want up there. You can also upload your own pictures. It's a little bit tricky though. They have to be long and narrow so they fit in here. Once my form is finished, there's a couple different ways I can save it or share it out to people. If I click on the eyeball, it'll give them the link. Give me the link that I could then send out in an email or something like that. If you use Google Classroom, you could put that link into a Google Classroom so your students can get to it. There are lots of different ways you can get this out to your students. But I wanted to show you how you can make these surveys before you're finished. Once people start answering my survey, the results will go to a spreadsheet that has the same name on it. So if I hit create, now nobody has answered this yet, but you'll notice I'll see the timestamp. It'll tell me when they did it, their username because I asked it to collect their email address, but these are the questions that I put in there. They'll all go into a spreadsheet that you could then sort or do other things with as well. Multiple choice questions too, and the responses, once we start getting some, Google kind of intuitively will graph those things for you too. So Google Forms comes in handy for lots of things, but I know you have a writer's workshop survey that you need to create, and this is a great way to do that. If you ever have any questions about this or Google Forms or any other technology integration, don't ever hesitate to call me. My extension is 5200. I'll see you later.